The Tower of Babel, a retelling. In the earliest days after the flood, when Noah and his sons had repopulated the land, humanity was still united. The survivors of the flood were bound not only by their common ancestry, but also by a single tongue. As the book of Genesis tells us, now the whole earth had one language and one speech. Genesis 11:1, NKJV. Because there was no confusion of dialects or barriers of nationality, the family of mankind lived and labored together. They journeyed collectively eastward from the mountains of Ararat, where the ark had rested after the flood, until they discovered a wide and fertile plain in the land of Shinar. It was here, in what we now know as Mesopotamia, rich with river valleys and firm soil, that they settled. But as time passed, the unity of speech was not accompanied by unity of heart toward God. Though Noah had offered sacrifices in gratitude after the deluge, Genesis 8:20-21, and though God blessed Noah's descendants with the command, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth," Genesis 9:1, mankind once again turned inward, prioritizing their ambitions over obedience to the Creator, the ambition of man. As they inhabited Shinar, a vision was formed in the hearts of the people. They said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They had brick for stone and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." Genesis 11:3-4. Two motives can be seen in this declaration: pride and independence. They longed to make for themselves a name to be remembered by their might and ingenuity, rather than by faith and obedience to God. Defiance of God's command. Rather than spreading out and filling the world as instructed, they resisted scattering. They imagined that unity severed from God would ensure strength. It was here that mankind attempted to exalt human effort over divine sovereignty. The tower was not simply a building, but a symbol of rebellion, an effort to reach toward the heavens on their own terms rather than by worship or obedience. Ancient ziggurats of Mesopotamia show us how seriously they took this ambition, with structures rising tier upon tier, intended as gateways between earth and sky. The Lord's response. The text tells us that the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which men were building, Genesis 11:5. Of course, God had no need to physically descend to perceive, yet Scripture describes it this way to emphasize his intimate involvement and judgment. What he saw was clear: mankind's prideful unity, unchecked, could lead to even greater collective rebellion. Indeed, the people are one and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Genesis 11:6-7. The divine council of heaven thus decreed a judgment, not destruction as in the flood, but a confusion of tongues. This act by God was purposeful, to restrain the spread of human pride by dividing languages and scattering people across the globe. Suddenly, what had been clear cooperation dissolved into bewilderment. One man's brick was not placed where another expected. Directions were given, but no longer understood. Work halted, frustration multiplied. The once unified society fractured, and the ambitious tower became a monument to confusion. Scattering of nations. The project ceased and the people dispersed. Genesis records, "Therefore its name is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth." Genesis 11:9. Babel in Hebrew is related to Balal, meaning confusion. In Babylonian culture, however, it meant gate of the gods. What men thought was their path to divinity became in reality a testimony to disorder. Out of this dispersion arose diverse tongues, cultures, and nations. From Shinar, mankind spread into different regions, settling lands that would later become known as Egypt, Canaan, Assyria, and beyond. Theological reflection. The Tower of Babel teaches profound lessons. Human ambition without God leads to ruin. It is not progress itself that God opposed, but pride, the attempt to build life apart from Him. Unity is not inherently good, it depends on the cause. Unity in rebellion becomes dangerous, while unity in obedience, as later seen in the church at Pentecost, glorifies God. God restrains evil. Just as God set limits after the flood, here too he curbed human pride, not by wiping out mankind but by redirecting history and scattering nations.